What's up guys, so we're going to be doing something a little bit different today from my usual. So, there's this new game out, Rocket Arena, and I've been hyped for this game for, I have to say, a year or so now. I saw some gameplay about a year ago of a very early build, and since then I've been really looking forward to it. So, what is Rocket Arena? I think the best way to explain it is, as a lot of people have said, it's like a Smash Brothers 3v3 arena rocket shooter with kind of Overwatch-esque abilities. And that sounds crazy as it is, but trust me, it works. So, when I say Smash Brothers, what I mean is the health meter isn't exactly your usual 100 health, once that's gone you're dead, or anything like that. As you can see on screen, once that meter fills, you get knocked out of the arena, much like you do on Smash Brothers, and it is so incredibly fun. I cannot explain how fun this game is. Before I go any further though, just a disclaimer. This is PS4 gameplay, this is day one gameplay. If you're watching this video 2-3 months in the future, things might have changed, so bear that in mind. So this is all day one impressions and gameplay. So, how much does it cost? So for PS4, this comes in at sort of £29. I'm guessing it'll be relative, and this is just standard edition. There is a Mythic edition, which is slightly more, but I picked this up at around about £25 to £30, which a lot of people, and when I say a lot, quite a few people I saw saying, look, it's not worth it, because this game was meant to be free to play until the game developers went over to EA, and we all know what EA are like, and now it is a paid game. Is it worth paying for? Yeah, for me personally, absolutely, but hopefully after watching this video you guys will be able to put your own opinions forward. So, gameplay itself. It is, as I said earlier, chaotic, messy fun in the best way. There's not a single moment I have played, and I've played a good, I want to say, 5 hours already. That isn't a ton of time, and I'll explain why in a little bit, but that entire time I have not had a second of downtime. There's always something going on. There's always a shot being sent towards you, you're having to dodge, you're having to jump, use abilities. It is pure chaotic madness. And on the plus side, the matches themselves are about 5 minutes long. That's it. Doesn't matter if you're doing the competitive mode, just a casual, whatever, it's 5 minutes. And that, for some people, is going to be, oh, they're only 5 minutes. You know, sometimes Overwatch matches go on for half an hour, up to an hour at times. But no, this is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You jump in, 5 minute match. If you don't want to play anymore, you know, you don't have to play anymore. You're not locked in to that hour of time you would need in other games. It's amazing. In terms of game modes, there is a big variety. As you can see on screen right now, we're playing, I think it was, yeah, Rocket Ball. And this is basically a mode out of Call of Duty. I cannot remember what it was called, but you have to take a ball from the middle and either walk it or throw it into your enemy's goal. And this was my favourite mode. A lot of people say they didn't particularly like this mode. Obviously it's personal preference, but me personally loved this mode. I did awful in this gameplay. Let me just point that out. This is all day one gameplay. I have some really bad footage, but I adored this mode purely because of how simple it is. As you can see, the maps are tiny, and straight away all three people are just trying to get in the middle, just trying to get that ball, and it is pure madness. I fall off here, and look, that's pretty embarrassing, but it's so fun. And once you fall off or die or get eliminated, you're straight back in 5 seconds. You're back in the map, you're ready to go again. Now, sound. This is something I do have to talk about. I think it's extremely important to talk about in every game, the sound design and sound quality. So, it's, I would say, a 7 out of 10. Possibly a 6. At times, for me, the sound completely disappeared. Like 100%. I'll be fighting and all of a sudden my left ear would just cut out all possible sound, and then it'd only be in my right ear. And I've got a good pair of headphones, so this isn't a technical issue with me, it is with the game. I've seen a few other people say this, but other than that, the sound of the game really matches what is going on. There is a constant rush feel to the game. It's a constant upbeat music track going and going and going and going, and that is excellent. It complements what is going on screen so well, and it is, as I said, pure madness. The music, really good. The sound in terms of maybe your footsteps, your shooting, yeah, they're pretty good. I'd give the shooting sounds, you know, the sound effects, maybe a good 7 out of 10. Whereas the ambient sound, stuff like that, that's a 6. But overall, you know, pretty decent. Graphic design next, that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, a lot of people have drawn comparison to, as I said earlier, an Overwatch kind of style in terms of the cartoony feel, but also Fortnite is obviously a big inspiration graphical wise, and look, I don't think that's a bad thing. Say what you will about Fortnite, you know, love it or hate it, Fortnite itself looks really good, and certainly when it came out it was like this new cartoony fresh game. I liked it personally, and Overwatch especially is so over the top but it makes it great, and this is very similar to that. All the characters are designed in such a specific way that you wouldn't think it would work, but it just does. All the characters are bright, you know, purples, reds, oranges, yellows, all these colours, all these crazy designs, and the maps as well. Let me just say, the map design in this game is, and this is going to be a broad statement, you might not agree, but for me personally, some of the best map design. Not so much in terms of complex design like a Call of Duty game or maybe Overwatch or anything like that, but in terms of certain assets on this game, certain details, certain colour usages, they flow so well. All these maps are tiny, okay, let's bear that in mind. Tiny, tiny maps, you know, you can get from one end to the other in, what, 5 to 10 seconds? Really small maps, which would obviously make sense because it's a 3v3. But they flow so well. There's high areas, low areas, mid areas, and people are constantly jumping. I mean, as you can see in this gameplay here, there's just chaos as people all come down to this one low area. I'm trying to fight them off, I'm trying to do my best, and then later in the gameplay you go up to higher areas and it is just excellent. And the graphic design really helps that, and that's no joke. The graphical design of this game, from little rocks here and there, little bits of coral, let's say in this map, to other maps having little doors just placed in certain areas, and even though they're not physical doors you can enter necessarily, the fact that they've taken this time to just add that detail, add that perfection, made me so happy when I was playing it. Everything's going on at once on this screen, you know, and the game does a superb job at making sure you know what everything is, what all your abilities are, and what every bullet and rocket, I should say, is coming through. And, you know, props to them, because that is difficult to do. I certainly know, obviously, with Overwatch 2 coming out, they've redesigned the UI, because the original Overwatch can be a bit confusing, I guess, for newer players. There is a lot going on, but this perfects it for me. It's just so good at what it does, and like I say, graphically it's really good. PS4 gameplay, it's obviously going to be 720p because it's recorded straight up for PS4 that you're watching, but trust me, in person, very, very good looking. I am yet to see any real pop-in terms of textures. I'm yet to see any fuzziness, any blurriness in terms of textures. Yeah, everything really, really good. The next thing I'm going to talk about before going into the sort of conclusion is the fun factor. Now, I've obviously already brushed upon this, but is this game fun? I've seen, certainly on the Reddit, of people saying, should I buy it? You know, is it going to replace Overwatch, Fortnite? Is it going to replace any of these other games in a similar graphical style? That's personal choice. For me, I've been excited for this for so long, but once I finally got on to play, I did not want to stop. Every game, like I say, because it's 5 minutes long, you just... 5 minute game, right, let's just have one more. It's only 5 minutes. About one more ends up at 3:30 in the morning, and, you know, your girlfriend's telling you to come to bed, and you're thinking, well, no, I don't want to spend time with you. I want to spend time on this game. I want to shoot people with rockets. You know, it's it's that fun. And the abilities really goes into that. So the character I'm using right now is like this ice shooting crossbow girl. Don't know the names. It's the first game I used with her, and for a long time I was using this woman in this game, and I had no idea. I was thinking my bullets aren't doing anything. I don't know what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden you realise that one of her abilities that I'm using now slows incoming rockets and deals more damage and makes it easy to evade. Other than my awful shooting there, which it does take a while to get used to in this game, with the fact that the bullets aren't hit scan. Obviously we've got travel time, stuff like that. But I love it. I love every single second. It is so incredibly fun. I can't stress that enough. If you're watching this and you've got to this point and you're thinking, look, I just want to know whether or not to buy the game. If you're looking for something fun to spend maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes on every now and again, you can't go wrong. This has certainly now a higher fun factor than something like Overwatch for me, and I have played thousands of hours of Overwatch. This is sublime. This is so good at being quick, fun snippets of gameplay that somehow feel way more competitive than you would think. I started playing this in the first game or two. I was like, yeah, you know, whatever, it's just a bit of fun. I'm not too invested. 3 games in, I was like, right, headphones on, volume to the max. I'm sorting out all my settings, make sure everything is perfect. Going in and thinking, look, I need to win this, and that is what it does so well. You know, I was going into matches against people who are already level 13 and getting my absolute bum kicked, but I didn't care. I was having so much fun. I was thinking, right, I want to find that guy, I want to eliminate that guy. It is surprisingly competitive for its cartoony nature, but fun, as I say, 10 out of 10, no denying. This is some of the most fun I've had on a game in the past 5 years. That's again another broad statement, but I absolutely agree. However, the game is not without its issues, and as we sort of come to know with both EA and day one releases in today's sort of gaming society, it had a lot of problems. For one, there was quite a few people that couldn't even load the game or play it, me included. So I woke up, I had it sort of downloaded, pre-ordered, whatever, and I woke up yesterday morning to try and hop on. Game started loading, hard crash, sent me straight back to the PlayStation dashboard. I thought, oh, you know, that's a bit weird, but tried it maybe 20 times, didn't work. So I went on Twitter, and the game developers themselves hadn't released a statement. I thought, fair enough, they haven't noticed yet. That's fine. It's a day one release. They're going to be swamped with little bugs and little things and all this stuff. So I thought, right, I'd leave it a couple of hours. A couple of hours later, still nothing. And I've seen plenty of people on Twitter say stuff about it. So it's not something that I thought they could miss. You know, if you're on a day one release, your new game's coming out, surely you'd be checking Twitter 24/7. I know I would. I'd be making sure there's not some slight issue that's stopping people from experiencing the game how it should, and I'd be trying to fix it. But again, it slipped through. I thought maybe after 5-6 hours, right, now they've got to realise, but no, it was 24 hours. 24, one whole day before they acknowledged it, and that, for me, that isn't on. Now, I understand it's a new game. I understand they're going to be busy. But if you've got a fairly large amount of people unable to even play the game they've spent money on, a game that was meant to be free to play, bear in mind, okay? So, a game that they've spent money on, in order to be able to play it on day one, the second it releases, to not let them play, not for 1, 2, 3, 5 hours, but for 24 hours, before even acknowledging that there's an issue. They didn't even acknowledge the problem. And then, even after they acknowledged it, they said there was a fix. There was no fix. I don't know what they did behind the scenes. I don't know if they changed anything, but no one, as far as I'm aware, that was having the issue before had this issue sorted now. No one. I didn't. I still couldn't log in. The only way I could play a game was by, on the load up screen, disconnecting my internet off my PlayStation, reconnecting it, and then for some reason that worked. That was the only way. I had to do that every single time. But to leave it 24 hours on a game like this is wrong. But I did speak personally to someone that worked on the game, and he assured me that from now I would be getting updates. This exchanged over Twitter. So he assured me he would give me updates, any future sort of updates, any crashes, issues, anything like that. I'd be one of the first to know. So that's good. You know, it's good that they sort of reached out to me, because I was being very sort of vocal on Twitter about it. So, you know, well done to them for that. And there is a chance they didn't notice. You know, it might have only been a super small amount of people, but at the same time, with it being such a big issue, you know, it's not like it was just crashing in gameplay. It was, you're not able to physically play. It's a big issue. But that, as I've been assured this morning from Kevin, can't remember his last name, I apologise for that, but I was assured it was getting looked at immediately and it was planning to be fixed immediately. So look, well done for that. The other issues are the sound. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but the sound sometimes would just disappear, and watching this gameplay back, it didn't happen. For some reason, on the actual recording, I couldn't hear it, or I could only hear it in slight areas, but with my headphones on, for some reason the sound would just disappear. For no reason, it would just completely disappear. Right there, actually, hearing it right there, the sound went weird, it didn't disappear, but just weird things like that. So there's something, again, that needs to be worked on, a few minor sort of audio bugs, and that's fine. That didn't take away from the experience too much. Server issues as well. The servers were less than great. I know on a day one game this often happens. You know, I've played Call of Duty before on day one, and you've tried to log on and no one could get on the game because of a big update or whatever, and everyone's trying to flood it at once. It's happened a lot before, but this game went from between sort of 5 seconds to 35 seconds to find a game, which isn't an issue particularly. You know, I don't mind waiting half a minute to find a game, but on a day one game, I don't know, something about it seems off to me. You know it's not the biggest game in the world, you know, but sort of publishing for it, and I didn't really see any adverts. The only reason I knew about this game was because I was following this game for a long time, but there's not that many people playing, which is fine. It's not, you know, it's not going to be a Fortnite killer, for example. Everyone's not going to suddenly come over to here. It's going to be a more select group, you know, maybe Fortnite, for example, has 100,000 players a day. This might only have 10,000. That's fine, but I just wasn't expecting that amount of time, especially on day one. You know, this is the sort of thing that would happen with a 3-4-year-old game. So I don't know. That might just be a slight server issue. It might improve in future, and that's fine. But for me, it did take a bit longer than I thought. Now, the only other issues I had was to do with crossplay. By default, for me, crossplay was off, but I've heard for some people, by default it's on, which obviously isn't an issue. If you're coming against PC players, they have got an advantage. They've always got an advantage, but in a game like this, it isn't so much of an advantage like it is maybe Call of Duty, where you have to be so precise with, let's say, your sniping or your shots. It is nowhere near as bad. But for me, I really don't know why, but when I went into my settings and I turned crossplay on, I started experiencing crashes. So my game would hard crash if I was in the middle of a match, which was really weird. I saw a couple of people on Reddit say they had a similar issue, but overall it only happened a couple of times, so I turned crossplay off and it was absolutely fine. So look, I don't know, but it is what it is. And the final thing I'm going to speak about is the game modes themselves. Now, I said earlier that Rocket Ball was one of my favourite, and some people said that it was their least favourite. They didn't want it in the game. And I kind of understand why, because sometimes in the Rocket Ball mode, people are able to get the ball and sneak past and score for, you know, I guess it'd be called, in 5 seconds, and that's fine. You know, these things happen, but for me, I loved it. Some people didn't. So I wish there was a kind of way to pick and choose exactly what game modes, but that's quality of life stuff. I mean, for all I know, there is, you know, it's somewhere hidden in the menus, but for me personally, when you start, it was kind of quick play, for example, or play competitive, not play competitive. For some people, that's not going to be what they want, but, you know, again, it's such a nitpicky issue. I also wish there was a way where you could maybe hold a button to see your character's abilities, especially if you're a new player. So on the screen at the bottom left, if you tap any of your D-pad buttons, you give little voice lines or whatever. Great, I'm not bothered about that. It would be nice if, similar to Overwatch, you could keep hold of the up button on the D-pad, for example, and be able to see all your character's abilities on the fly, because a lot of the times I was kind of not realising what was going on. With this character in particular, I really had no clue. I was throwing things out, I was doing things, I just hoped for the best, really. And that's it, you know. I know it may have sounded like I've been saying bad points for the past sort of 5 minutes, but bear in mind, it's a day one game, and I think by far the good points on this game outweigh the bad. What would I rate it out of 10 though? If I was going to say, you know, my honest opinions of this game, no bias, because obviously some people might be biased because I have been following this game a while. People might say, well, you know, you was always going to enjoy it no matter what. That's not true. If I had played this game and I thought it was awful, I would tell everyone possible. I'd go on Reddit, you know, believe me, I'd be telling people how bad it is, but it's not. This game, for me, hasn't really hit maybe the perfect heights that I was hoping, but that doesn't mean it's bad, and I haven't had this much fun playing a game since Overwatch. And again, I loved Overwatch, and that really goes to say something. This game for me is a 9 out of 10. The issues, if they were sorted, maybe a 9.5, and that, you know, it's a big amount, but purely on fun alone, this is currently one of my favourite games. I enjoy it more than I can explain, and I've got so much more to learn, and I will be putting up more videos as well to sort of give tips, maybe to explain more. But yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. A 9 out of 10. I would highly recommend, if you've got the money and you want something to stick on and play, you want fun or a competitive experience, you can play with console players, you know, Xbox, PS4, PC players, whatever. I've heard it's meant to be coming to Switch as well, and you know, that's great. So go out and get it. Honestly, if you've got the money and you're looking for something to spend it on, go out and get it. You won't be disappointed. It is such a fun experience of a game. As always, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, because there's going to be more Rocket Arena gameplay each and every week. So stay safe, guys. See you later.
Treasure round. Hold the treasure chest. Use the treasure chest. Opponent treasure chest. complete. Treasure round. Hold the treasure chest. Loading treasure chest. One minute to go. Opponents nearing victory. Chest out of bounds. Treasure chest reset. Opponent treasure chest. 30 seconds left. Treasure round complete. Coin round. Collect the coins.